Chapter 22. If Anything Goes Wrong. Next morning, all the dads, including Eddie Xanadu, had to meet Dr. Drax in a bar inside the dome. Magnificent Desolation, the bar was called. I just have one or two more things for you all to sign, said Dr. Drax, passing round some forms and also a drinks menu. These are mostly legal waiver forms, saying that you understand the dangers of spaceflight and you're giving your children permission to go, so that, if anything does go wrong, not that anything will, you as the parents will be responsible. I didn't really want to think about things going wrong, so I just concentrated on the drinks menu. I couldn't believe it when the others all asked for coffees and teas. There were so many drinks to choose from. I spotted something called the Cosmic Quencher, which I had to order because cosmic is my favourite word. Dr. Drax was explaining that the whole mission was top secret. If anything goes wrong, not that it will, we will not admit that the mission ever took place. Because, of course, if anything does go wrong, which it won't, the bad publicity would close Infinity Park, and I'm sure none of you wants that to happen. I said, when you say if anything goes wrong, well, what could go wrong exactly? Oh, you know how people make a fuss, said Dr. Drax. If someone breaks a toe or gets a headache, then people will say it's too dangerous. And this is our first attempt. If it doesn't go according to plan, we're not going to say it'll be better next time. We're just going to deny it ever happened. Then she smiled and said, You're a man of the world, Mr. Digby. You'll understand. I do understand now, by the way. I understand because something did go wrong. So wrong that Dr. Drax probably denied that this mission ever took place. Which means no one is down there trying to help us. No one is calling international rescue, or the X-Men, or whatever. No one is scrambling to a super-fast rocket to come and save us, because no one knows we're here. No one knew where we were going, and no one knows we didn't get there. The Cosmic Quencher turned out to be a bucket of Coke with 2 big dollops of ice cream bobbing about in it, decorated with little silver stars and a bunch of sparklers blazing away in the top. I imagined all the others were thinking, I wish I'd ordered one of those instead of my boring coffee. I suppose they might have been thinking, that is not a dadly drink. But I didn't care about that anymore. While we were signing the forms, Eddie Xanadu kept going on about how pleased he was that he had won. I never thought I would go into space. Or rather, I did. As a child, of course, I watched the Apollo missions on television. I thought I was living in the space age. I thought we would all be going to space. I was disappointed until now. I remember my father took me to see some samples of moon rock when it first came back. The other dads remembered queuing up to look at moon rock too. And that was also disappointing because it was grey. I expected it to be glowing, like the moon in the sky. All the other dads laughed. Then Samson One said, Surely, even a child knows that the moon has no innate luminescence, that it only shines because it reflects the sun. Mr. Xanadu shrugged. We all make mistakes. And the other two nodded as if it didn't really matter. But it did really matter. How could they let their kids go into space with someone who didn't know that the moon had no innate luminescence? Before you go on a quest, you make sure you've got all you need. Skills, equipment, money, health, magic, elixir. What did he have? Nothing. He was just a big, grinning, empty-headed troll. And we were entrusting our kids to him. I tried to say nothing. I know politeness is dadly, and yelling is not. I did try not to engage. I stood and listened quietly while he said, The important thing is that the children have decided that I am the best dad. And I will be the best dad, not just to Hassan, but to all of your children. I reassure you. Everyone clapped except me. Before I knew what I was doing, I was on my feet saying, Well, it doesn't reassure me. How can we let our children go into space with a man who doesn't even know that the moon has no innate luminescence? How can we let our children go into space at all? Space isn't safe. What kind of dads let their child go into space? They all muttered stuff about it being a great opportunity, the opportunity of a lifetime. And Samson One said, After all, Dr. Drax's own daughter is going. Well, said Dr. Drax, collecting in the forms, not this time. Not this time? No, in fact, Shenzhen is running a temperature, so I've decided to keep her back. It may just be a cold, but it could be measles. Shenzhen can't go to space today because she's got a temperature. She made it sound like she was going to skip PE. I said, but Shenzhen is the professional taikonaut. Really, Mr. Digby, there is so little for the crew to do. All the hard work will be done by those brain boxes at Drax Control. You know, in 1969, the Americans landed a man safely on the moon with less technology than you've got in your Drax phone. The equipment they had was sticks and stones compared to what I've built here. So it's completely safe. We have a policy here at Draxcom. It's called massive over-provision. That means, for instance, that there's 10 times as much oxygen on board than they could ever possibly need, twice as much fuel. Even the layer of Kevlar on the module is 3 times thicker than necessary, so it's 3 times as bulletproof. Bulletproof? Why would it need to be bulletproof? Does the man in the moon have a shotgun or something? Oh, you know, in case of meteors. I hadn't even thought about meteors. I said, you know, thinking about it, I don't want my daughter to go to space. It's too dangerous. Yes, it will be a great opportunity, but she can have great opportunities here on Earth, where she won't be impacted by meteors. It does you great credit, Mr. Digby, that you are all so concerned about your daughter. She was already walking away while she said this, taking Eddie Zanady with her. I stood up and almost shouted, I am withdrawing my permission. But legally speaking, she said, waving one of the forms in the air, you've already given your permission. Have a nice day. And she closed the door behind her.